Apostle, after he took me around, you like to hear this. When he took me around the churches, let me quickly explain it. And now I'm crying, I'm sobbing, like I can't hold myself. He said, I will explain to you. Sat me down. So let me show you idolatry. See, when Israel left Egypt on their way to the promised land, when they crossed the Red Sea, idolatry entered the camp of Israel. Every day they began murmuring, cursing God, cursing Moses, crying for the onions and the cucumbers of Egypt. True? They wearied God with their murmuring and their crying so badly that God, in his anger, swore that all of these people will not enter his rest, except for Caleb and Joshua. Am I right? What you may not know is that the day he swore in his anger that they will not enter his rest, God walked away from the camp of Israel. For 40 years they erred in the desert. He wasn't there with them. I didn't know it. He told me when I was there. He said, I walked out of the camp. The only thing I didn't do, I didn't take away the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. The pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire were still there, moving with them in the desert, but God wasn't there. And he told me, Ngnangock, be careful. You can have a ministry on earth that has the emblems of God's presence, but not have God himself. See, the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud were the signs of God's presence. They were there until they all died. But God had walked out. It's when I came back from the encounter, Apostle, that I read my Bible, Numbers chapter 14, I think verse 34. Check that for me, please. Numbers 14:34. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even for 40 years. Now look at the last one. He says what? And ye shall do what? The breach of my, now your version said the breach of my promise. If you read other versions, it says you will know what it means to be deprived of my presence. He left the pillars, but he himself wasn't there until they all died. When they all died, he came back and said, oh, Joshua, when was it when we stopped? The last time we stopped. Okay, circumcise their children and let's continue the journey. So you can have all the emblems. Check the version. You got different versions. You find the one that says you will know what it means to be deprived of my presence. Amen. Second thing he showed me, he said, look at Elijah on the mountain. I think 1 Kings 18 or 19. God brought the wind, but God wasn't in the wind. God brought the fire. God wasn't in the fire. God brought the earthquake. God wasn't in the earthquake. And when all these three had passed, then now he came in a still small voice, spoke to Elijah. True? He said to me, Ngnangock, you can have an earthquaking ministry on the earth, a consuming fire ministry, and a whirlwind ministry, shaking the whole world, but without God. That's why when the 70 came back in Luke chapter 10, and they gave testimonies of all, he said, shh. Are your names written in the book of life? Because today on the earth there are many workers of iniquities that are great workers of miracles, but God is not with them, and they are taking all these multitudes following them, not to eternity with God. So as we were coming, when he finished explaining that we're coming back, he showed me. I'm speaking before the Messiah. You know him, ask him the question. He showed me what we call the principalities of this faith. They are still alive. Some of them in this country and in other places. Say, you see this one? It's not my servant. You see that one? It's not working for me. He showed me many of them. When I came back, now I'm concluding, my time is finished. But when I came back, I told my wife, and I began to give her names. She said, please don't give me, no, please, I don't want to hear that. I said, no, you are my covenant. Now, he didn't give me permission to give you the names. That's why I'm not called the names. When I started calling the names, she said, please, I said, you need to hear them. She insisted, so I said, okay, I will not call the other names. But I'm giving you the names so that when some of the things begin to happen, you will know that I told you. See, when I came back. Now, before I came back, the last thing, I'm trying to cut my God. Now, Jesus asked me, Ngnangock, what is this crazy desire in your heart and in the hearts of your colleague, the pastors, for wanting your ministries to grow by all means? Do you want them to grow for you, or you want them to grow for me? That question alone was like volumes of books downloaded in my spirit. You know, we can be involved in this thing and doing it with all passion, but we're not doing it for him.